Hello and welcome to the credentials and setup phase of the Ontology Machine. Now, if you haven't already downloaded it, you can open the GitHub page. That is linked in the comments. Now, go down to the release section, scroll all the way down, and you will find the installer you can download and install on the system. Then you just open the installer and choose your designated folder. And then let the install run. Yes, I have already installed it. Now, what it will give you, it's a little folder. And if you open that folder, you will see a bunch of options. Now, this, and this, they are little helper extractors that will be commented later on. They are basically used to get information from the internet into the right format for the extraction machine. So you don't have to do that manually, but that's not the theme of this video. What we want to do first is configure the client front end. That's the very first step you have to do. Then a browser window opens and also a console window. So you can ignore that for now because we are concentrating on the setup process. Now, under the setup tab, you will see some general settings. You can name your worker however you want. What you want to make sure is this. The Ontology Machine gets shipped with a sample database that should be directly linked after the install process under the folder that you choose for your install. If this is not there, then you have to look within the folder where the corpus is and just link it, like copy and paste the path here into it. And here is just the root folder of the machine. That should all be configured beforehand, but to make sure that this is there, you just have a second look here. Now we go to the important part, to the LLM configuration. Now, if you have a ChatGPT subscription, you can use it to log in. Just click it and it will redirect you to your ChatGPT account. There you can log in, give permission, and then you will come back. And you don't have to do this part because you have your subscription already used. And all you have to do then is just choose a model. But if you don't have one, you need to use your API key. And in case you don't know, you have to create like an OpenAI account, or you can choose any provider listed here. Even you can use local models like LM Studio. If you want to experiment with a lot of models, I recommend going to OpenRouter and make an account there and get an API key there. Then you can reload models and you will see every OpenRouter model available. That is a very huge list then that you can choose from. Now, in my case, we stick with OpenAI. I just paste in my API key and then test it. And you see connection is okay. So the API key works. Now we go down. This is the model seed list. That's not the complete list. That's a pre-installed list. If you want to have access to all available models on OpenAI, again, just reload models. Model list updated. You have 115 different models to choose from now. It's like, it's huge. And for this case, we just use GPT 5.4 mini because for our demonstration purposes, this is a capable enough model. Now, what you see here, this is the context token limit. This is basically how big your short-term memory should be. I would recommend to keep it that way. It is good for longer conversations, and it doesn't get too expensive over time. Of course, you can bump it up as far as you want, like how big the model context is, like 1 million for this. But that will get really expensive. What you see down here, this is like a ballpark number. What it would cost you if you talk to the model you chose, in that case 5.4 mini, for 110 turns. It will cost you basically around $3 if you use an API key. Don't nail me down on this. These are hard-coded numbers, and they may change, and it's just a ballpark number to give you a feeling what this will cost. Now we come to the not so convenient part. The machine is designed to work with vector embeddings. This is optional. If you leave it out, the model answer will visibly degrade. It will work, but the answers will not be dynamic and deep as it is with the API key. So if you use the OAuth for here, you still need an extra API key for this to work. Now, this is not a cost question. The text embedding 3 small model costs like 2 cents per million output token. So to put this into perspective, it's like if you chew in 5,000 pages, this will still not be more than $1. So it is basically nothing. You can use, if you have an API key here, you can use the same API key here. Test it. It tests the model. Yes, in the correct dimensions. So this works too. And for the last part, you can put a password in here to lock the config page if you do not want someone to play around with your settings or get your API key. Then you just type in a password, and that thing then is protected, and you must unlock it if you want to change something in there. Then just to make sure, you can test both connections. Again, okay, and then just save it. And all the settings are saved. Now, you can read here the prompts, the ontology prompt, whatever, get some advanced settings. This is not interesting for the setup, but if you want to play around a little bit deeper in the settings, you can use all that. And now this is basically all you have to do. So you can close this. Now, if you close this, your window here will stay alive. Your server will stay alive. You have to close it too manually. So sorry for that. I haven't found a reliable way. So if you close the tab, the server gets shut down too. So we have to do that manually too. Now let's go on to the next configuration, because this was just for the chat agents. But if you want the document ingestion to work, you need a extra setup process, and you need to go to the orchestrator here. You just run it, and this is an extra app. So we ignore the first page for now. We go to Credentials, and you can see here there is no API keys written in there yet. You have a OAuth login too. You can use that. And the OAuth will be used for the shared API key as well as for the OCR key for the it's like text extraction in the raw process. But you will need an API key for your embeddings separately, like in the front end. So you don't get away from that. So I just use the same API key everywhere. Login, and save here. And you see ready. the pipeline is completely ready. And now you can go over to the model page and choose your provider. If you used OpenRouter, for example, your API key, just use OpenRouter. I used OpenAI, so everything is OpenAI here. And then scroll down to your model. Now, the interpreter, this is the heaviest part of the whole machine. You want the best model, or like the best model you can afford, to work in the interpreter, and the normalizer can get the mini version of it. It's way cheaper and it doesn't have to work that hard. And you can also use a different OCR model if you want. I will change here Mini 2 because this is plenty. And this is basically all you have to do here. Again, if you have a different provider, you can refresh the model list, but that only works if there are credentials put in there. Otherwise, the refresh won't work because it doesn't have access to the current model list of the provider in question. You can also use like local models if you want, but we will stick with OpenAI here. And that's basically it. So if you have all the credentials in, every model chosen, you are basically good to go. And in the next part, we will have a look at the chat agent, or like the query agent. So see ya.